Here's one of my other little projects that I worked on last year. I wanted a smoker, and I kept noticing online they kept selling these warming trays, warming cabinets I mean, and I tried to get a big one, you know, a taller one than this one. For the longest time they kept going over $200 a piece, you know, and I didn't want to spend too much. Finally I got this 3/4 size one, and I had to drive pretty darn far to get it. I think I either had to go to Pennsylvania or just before getting into Pennsylvania, and I live in Virginia, so it was quite a trip to go get this thing. But it works out pretty well. I put on the little handle here for, you know, so they won't get too hot when I open it. And I also put a little aluminum handle there that I made out of some scrap aluminum. I also made these trays, as you can see. I just welded rebar to a square or rectangle, and then I put some grate on there, and I just plopped the meat right on top of that thing. There's 3 trays in there right now. I could put more if I wanted. Down below I built this grade that I put my charcoal on, and then I put my wood on top of that. Works really well. Welded it all up from a Harbor Freight welder. And in the back I put the that was my dog. She likes to bang things. I put the chimney. I put the entrance to it from the smoker just about 1/3 of the way up. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's pretty dark in there. But that would allow the smoke to build up in the upper part so that the food or the meat will get lots of smoke and it won't be drawn away. Now I think I paid about $80-something for this cabinet, and probably spent another $40 or so for the rebar and the angle iron that I used to make the grade. Of course the chimney is made out of just pipe that I got from Home Depot. Now these trays I also got from an online auction from a school district. It took me a long time to find those too. But that's what I usually put my meat on when I'm preparing it, not when I'm smoking it, or when I'm taking it out to be used or to, you know, store until people eat it. And they weren't that expensive. I can't remember how much I paid for them, but that was an auction find as well. Also during the summer I had to replace the roof on my little deck back porch. Now this is the first thing I built whenever I bought this house, and the house was really in bad shape. Didn't have a backyard other than a mud pit. Good for pigs, but not good for people or dogs. So I built this back porch first, and then a few years later I built the deck. And I also got another cabinet here, but I'm not going to turn this into a smoker. It's just a stainless steel cabinet that I use to store stuff. I may turn it into a dehydrator at some point, but I got this one for a lot less money than I got the other cabinet, and it's mainly because I guess they decided, since they were selling these things for really good money, $200 or $300 a piece, that they just flooded it once. And I got this one for, I think it was $40-something. Can't remember for sure, but it was a lot less expensive. And this is the size I really wanted to begin with, you know, for the smoker, which would have been too large for personal use, but it would have been great if I ever decided to have a big party or maybe sell smoked meats or something. But I would have done the same thing as I had done with that one. But that one right there works just perfectly fine for what I intend for it to do. The only drawback was that the thermometer on this thing got all smoky, because wasn't originally designed for smoking. and it got so clogged that it no longer works. But I have a replacement for it that I'm going to put on there. That one is made out of aluminum. Now the patio part back here with all the brick, I got all those blocks online too from an auction from a town that bought more blocks than they needed, and they replaced their streets with their cobblestone streets with this stuff. So I can't remember how much I paid for that, but I think it was about half or a third of what it would cost commercially. I also built this retaining wall back here, because the reason why I got this house well, it wasn't cheap, but it was cheaper than it would have been, is because this back hill collapsed the back wall, and this house was actually condemned for a while, and an old guy came in and fixed it up partially. He didn't fix it up completely, just partly. Now the blocks and the bricks and the slate that's on top of these blocks, I got those from an online auction too, and I paid $700 for the lot. But I got not only all this block and brick, but there's a whole bunch that I use on the bottom of the house to shore up the walls, the basement walls that were collapsing or cracking. So I reinforced those on both sides. On the inside, I used the block. I still have a whole bunch of bricks left, and I still have a whole bunch of blocks left. So if I ever decide to do any more projects, I have plenty of blocks to do it with. Now back here, the wall goes all the way back there. So that whole wall, the blocks for that wall, came from the Army retired old soldier and airman facility in downtown DC. And I had to make a whole bunch of trips with these blocks because I couldn't carry them all at once. And the people were getting really pissed at me because I was taking forever to cart all those blocks away. But they weren't doing anything with the area, and they didn't say I had to have it out by a certain time. Oh, there's also a big retaining wall on the side of the house too that has a lot of these blocks. So I certainly got my money's worth out of those. That's about it for now, I guess. Oh, the canoe. I actually got 2 canoes from an online auction too. I sold one of them. I paid more than I would have liked to, but they were still cheaper than buying them new or even used through Craigslist. The website was publicsurplus.com. I think I got the blocks from govdeals.com. It's been a while, don't remember for sure, but I think so. I also bought a bus and 3 cars and a whole bunch of furniture from online auctions. I'm a real auction hog. Well, that's it for now, I guess.